Hey buddies, so I'm standing out on my balcony and I figured, you know what, it's a nice day out, I like the day, it's beautiful and sunny, so that's what I'm going to do today's video log. Probably, I'm going to start this video with some softball footage from last night, which unfortunately we lost, but I had a really good time and I really put, you know, the effort in, and I felt like my swing finally got there, and that's pretty important. I think, you know, trying your best is an important thing. I had a question asked to me, and who are the biggest, like, influential people in my life, and so I figured I'd sit down, or well, stand up for this one, and I'll talk about it a bit. And so, first person on the list, and I think I'm going to go from like least important to most important, is Neal Adams, and he's a pretty influential person in the comic book industry. And I've met him, and he's an interesting fellow. And he does all kinds of crazy things, from like doing science and you know, creating Green Arrow and filming his own movie, and you know, one of the things he says is you don't know what you can do until you sit down and just do it, try, and that's been a pretty big inspiration for me. If it wasn't for people like that saying, you know, just get out there and do, and these people that create so much content, I don't think I'd be able to do it. So he's pretty big up on the list for me, because he just, you know, motivates me to keep out and try to do the things that I want to be doing. Next is the two mentor people that I have in my life, and these are also comic book creators, and the first is Dave Ross. I met him through a school I went to, and it's been wonderful. Like, he's just such a nice guy and really wants to help out, and he's really good, and it's amazing that, like, he spends so much time with the students, you know, helping them become really good. And if it wasn't for him pushing me, I never would have got to the places where I got to. The second of the comic book creators that I know and I spent some time with is Kent Burles, and he's really interested in pushing people forward as well, and he's gotten me through some pretty tough times, and I highly recommend checking out his work. And he does something that I think is really important, and that's character a day. And every day for the last 2 years he's drawn a new, completely unique character. He posts it on his Facebook, and that whole idea of not breaking the chain and making sure that you're continuing to move forward and bettering yourself even when you're so busy, I think that's super important, and I like that kind of mentality, and that's what I'm trying to do with this video blog, is to try and move forward for myself, and at the same time make sure that I'm doing something every day. And when you're doing something like this, where it only takes a few minutes, it's silly not to be able to go through and do that. Pretty high on the list is my dad. Without him, I probably wouldn't be the person I am, for a lot of reasons. But he's always shown me, like, what to do, and he's easy to talk to, and that kind of stuff is always interesting. And I'm sure I'll get into more detail with him later when I kind of tell you a little bit more about my life story, because I've gone through some rough times in the last little while, but even though you feel like things aren't super great, you know, family motto has always been, "This too shall pass." So if you're having a good time, you're having not a good time, you're having a bad time, or life's just getting you down, just remember it's only for now, and eventually things will change, and it's how you deal with that change that will really affect you. If you feel like things are difficult, just try to remember that, you know, there's tomorrow still, and I think that'll help you try to get through some stuff. Last, and probably the most important person in my life, is my wife. I wouldn't be the person I am without her. I take so much from her, like, every day, and it's amazing. She's super positive, and a lot of how I see things now have changed drastically from when I was younger. Being able to understand things and step into somebody else's shoes, those are things that came by through dealing, and being important to her and her being important to me. So those are the really, really important people in my life, and a lot of the reason they're important is because they help change how I see things so that I can broaden my scope on life and make sure that I'm continuing to try and see everything I can. And it's really good. I've had a lot of trouble today. It's been difficult. I've been really stressed out with the amount of work I've taken on for myself, and trying to make sure that I'm doing the things I want to do, like hanging out with friends and taking time to sit down with family. And sometimes you have to make compromises. I think that's going to happen today, but I'm still going to make sure that I'm doing the best I can to move forward with all of this. And hopefully some of this inspires you guys to sit down and also try something new for the first time, or at least try to do something every day. Maybe it's small. Maybe you just want to say hello to a friend every day. Maybe you want to, try something new that you've never done and always wanted to do. Maybe you want to sing or write music, or maybe you want to draw or make videos. And the big thing about that is just sit down and do it. And if you don't, it's trouble for you. So I'm going to leave this one here, and hopefully you guys have had a good time. And if you got any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.